Well, my name is Carlton Banks, number 256162, currently housed at the Muskegon Correctional Facility. I've been incarcerated now for 26 years. I was convicted of being an accomplice to an armed robbery and a murder, which innocent person lost their lives. I was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. I'm a father, family man, I'm a remorseful man, and I'm a man who's striving to be better each and every day. I'm a mentor, a mediator. Pretty much, I'm also the national chairman of National Lifers of America, which is an organization that helps the less fortunate in here to try to speak out on political issues as well as prison issues to try to help get things better for us who's incarcerated and be a voice and bridge to the outside. Also try to assist, younger guys in here and try to steer them away from making bad decisions. Although it's hard and it's difficult and challenging, I try to continue to do my best because I feel it's my obligation, not only to them, but to the community as well, because I got an interest in people getting out and being better as well, because I got family and loved ones that's out there. So pretty much I'm a simple guy. Well, trauma, number one, first of all, being a person who involved myself in criminal activity, I understand the trauma that I put the victims, the families, and the community in as well. So I understand it from that standpoint. Also, the trauma that I face myself, and I don't want anybody to think that my own trauma is an excuse for anything that I've ever done, so I don't ever want that to come off like that, so it's not. But I also want you to understand that trauma can be a mitigating factor. But with me, I didn't understand or know what trauma was. I just thought it was something physical, not understanding that it's both emotional and mental as well, and it has a direct impact on how we respond to each other and other people. And being in here, you see it often. And most time, people don't even recognize that it is a result of this trauma. It is a person that's actually calling for help, but they don't know how. And it's kind of unique because when you're dealing with prison, a lot of time they are trained to respond to behavior. And they look at behavior as you just being a rule breaker, or you not following the rules, or you just acting out. But for me, I see a person that's having an episode. It's that trauma that hasn't been dealt with. It's their way of coping with it. So you see a lot of violence. You see a lot of drug use. You see deaths. You see a lot of things that people experience. And so for me, I use my own experience of feeling the abandonment, watching my mother go through addiction. My father had did time. And some of the things I experienced growing up that had me respond in a certain way. And so I see it in them. And so instead of when you see a person acting out and saying they just a bad person, you have to understand that it is something trying to come out. It's almost like how your body does when you infected. It try to seeps out through the pores. It finds the easiest way to get out. Come out through your pores and come out through, your urinals in the bathroom. Well, trauma is the same way. If it's not dealt with, it comes out the best way that it can. And until a person is able to recognize that they are suffering from traumatic experiences or that they haven't dealt with them, it's going to be a constant. It's like push and repeat all the time. And prison heightens that because it's a traumatic experience in here. Some people do time for many, many years, and you grow accustomed to certain things. You get friendships, and these guys in prison become your family because you done did decades with them, and then they die, or they go home, or you see something bad happen to them, and there's no way to deal with that, no way to deal with that grief. When I lost my father, I lost my paternal grandmother. I lost the auntie. My cousin got murdered. Best friend of mine got murdered. I dealt with a whole lot of these things. This is trauma on top of trauma. And I had to deal with it the best way I can, but at the same time, I couldn't allow what I was going through to hinder me from helping the younger guys because they have that chance. I threw mine away. I was sentenced to life in prison. So mine was over with, but they still have a chance. So I redirect my attention from me to them and help them because they on their way back out there. And if I can help them get back out there and do better, and that's what I do, but only until that trauma is dealt with. But a lot of them don't know they suffer from it. And that pride helps, the pride kind of blinds them from it. I ain't hurting. Ain't nobody did nothing to me, but deep down, they done been through all type of stuff: sexually assaults, substance abuse, abandonment, beating, all kind of stuff that you find out just from having a conversation with them. And you understand that the behavior is connected to that and not just being a bad person. And so that's what guys like myself and other guys do. We sit and we take the time on, we talk to the guys. And a lot of the time it's just conversation. And once they get it out and acknowledge that, you know what, wasn't your fault, man. We all go through it. I'm here for you. So when I see a guy, I ask him, hey, man, how you doing today? What's on your mind? I always ask him, man, what's on his mind? What's on your mind, man? You want to talk about it? Because that's where it's at. When it's mental trauma, it's on your mind. But they don't want to talk to you about what's on their mind unless they can trust you. And prison is the most distrusted environment on the planet. So trying to win trust is an uphill battle. It takes commitment, it takes dedication, but you can ultimately gain their trust. And when you do that, you become a better service to that particular individual.
Can you tell me a little bit about what it's been like to be a parent behind bars?
Well, parenting is another animal. But for me, I have to give a lot of credit to my son's mother, because it was through her commitment and dedication that I was able to be a father the best way I can under these circumstances. I think a lot of times people don't understand that, especially men in prison. And not saying that women don't go through it, but I'm a man, so I'm only going to speak from a man's perspective, being a father. One of the biggest challenges, especially I had a young son. When I left, my son's mother was 5 months pregnant. So I've been in here all of his life thus far. But she made sure that I always had a number and an address and a bridge to my son as long as I made the effort. So she always placed the burden on me. I'm never going to take your son from you. You will always have a place in his life as long as you take the initiative. It wasn't going to be, write him one day here and don't write him or don't call. I was going to either be all in or I wasn't going to be in at all. And so she never let her personal life come in between us as being parents. And so that kind of helped me in a sense. I wanted to be a part of my son's life, and she made sure that happened. And one of the things I tell a lot of the guys in here who have children, I don't care what relationship y'all had or didn't have, you have to make the mother of your child the most important woman in your life, because it is through her that you're going to have that relationship with your child or children. Now, some people's situation is different. They don't have the mother of their child has passed for them or something to the effect, but I'm speaking in general. You have to make her the most important person, and you can't worry about her personal life and all that. It's about the child. And so I made sure that I wrote my son as often as I could. I called. I wanted to make sure I knew what was going on with him in school. When it was decisions, if he was acting out, she kept me involved, stayed in contact. And so I really credit that. Even the work in my prison job, that was motivation, because if she had to work to take care of him, then I feel that even if I'm making $10 a month or $15 a month, I took pride in working and knowing that, hey, if I can send him, $10 here or $5 here or whatever, then I was a part of the process as well. So being a parent for me here is a very, very, very motivating factor to self-development. And I can't stress enough, it's because of my son's mother that I was able to be the father that I am from in here and be a part of my son's life. But it takes effort. You can't make excuses. Oh, well, they not writing me back, or she won't bring them to see me, or some of that. That has no bearing on how you respond. Still write those letters. Still send those birthday cards. If you have a number, still try to call. And even if you don't ever get a letter, still write them and keep a copy of them. That way, that one day, when you had that opportunity, you can say, see, look, I was trying to be a part of your life. I made that effort. Effort goes a long way. My father was incarcerated. And I remember I told him that I still remember some of the Christmas presents that he sent, that he used to send to my sister and myself. And I even described it. It was a Bert and Ernie little, steering wheel system where the nose was the horn was the nose of Bert, the blinkers was like Oscar the Grouch and Big Bird. I still remember this, and I'm 46 years old. But it's those little things. It's the effort that you make, and so I stress to anybody incarcerated: make the necessary effort if you can, and don't allow your circumstances to become an excuse for not doing what you're supposed to do. No matter what crime you committed, no matter how much time you got, no matter how much money you got, no matter what you're going through, your child is your priority. And be a part of his or her life the best way you can. And sometimes it's just the effort. If it's a letter just to say, hey, I love you, that's all it takes. So parenting is very important. And it's tough, it's hard, it's emotional, but you got to do it.